Hello, and welcome to Cooking with Todd. This is Todd. For today's video, I will be doing another canning video, and today I am going to be canning chili. Now, my canned chili is a little different than my regular chili that I do not can. So, I do have another chili recipe up on my channel. I will go ahead and link that at the end of this video, and put a link in the description if you'd want to watch that. Now, for this recipe, you are going to need 1 kilo of pinto and black beans. That's about 2.5 pounds each, and 500 grams of kidney beans, or about 1.2 pounds, or you could just do 5 pounds of whatever type of bean that you prefer to use. You're going to need 2 kilos of ground beef that is drained of all fat, and I did end up rinsing my ground beef in hot water twice. If you can find a very lean meat, go ahead and use that. You're also going to need about 6 to 8 bell peppers, finely diced. And I have this already prepared from last night, and this is about what you're looking for. So, real fine dice, and I used a don't know what they're really called, but they're used to chop vegetables. You're also going to need about 6 onions. I don't know how many this really is. I just use the bowl as a measuring device. So this is a 6-cup bowl. So you're going to need 6 cups of onions and 6 cups of the bell peppers. And same thing with the onion. The onion's quite a fine dice. And the ground beef is also kind of fine. It's not really big crumbles or anything. There might be some big ones here and there, but you're also going to need about 2 liters of tomato or vegetable juice. A 64-ounce bottle like this will suffice just fine. You're also going to need 1.6 kilos of crushed tomatoes, or just 2 28-ounce cans. You're also going to need 2.5 kilos of diced tomatoes, and if you notice, these cans are damaged. They were damaged in shipping, so this is a perfect scenario to use damaged canned goods. And that is going to be 6 of those cans for the diced tomatoes. You're also going to need 850 grams of Rotel, or 3 10-ounce cans of that. For seasonings, I am going to be using chili powder, smoked paprika, and ground cumin. I also am going to be using some cayenne pepper, which I do not have out right now, and about 8 to 12 cloves of garlic. I am doing that on taste for me personally. You can adjust that to your taste. Same thing with all the spices. If you want more or less, go ahead. So I am going to go ahead and pause this, and I will be right back and change my camera angle over to my pot. Okay, so I'm back, and I went ahead and got my biggest pot that I currently have, which is a 32 quart pot. So I'm going to go ahead and start by adding in my tomato juice or vegetable juice, whatever you are using. Then I'm going to go ahead and fill this same bottle up with some warm tap water. And then just dump that in there too. While I was away getting my pot and everything out, I also went ahead and opened up all of my cans, which all of these too were also damaged in shipping. So this is another good opportunity to use that. So I'm going to add in my 2 cans of crushed tomatoes. And then I'm going to rinse these out with a little bit of more warm tap water. And I just went ahead and used that much, so it's not really that much, so just dump that in there. And now I'm going to go ahead and turn my heat on a medium-high. And we're not going for a boil or a simmer. We are just heating this up a little bit, and that's it. Now while that's heating up, grab my ground beef. And I have 12 cups of cooked ground beef here. I don't think I mentioned that in the ingredients at the beginning of the video, but that's in. And I'm just going to go ahead and grab a rubber spatula to break this up and mix everything together. Okay, so this has been going a little bit, and I ended up turning the heat onto a high to kind of help speed it up. But at this time, I'm going to go ahead and add in my seasonings. And for this, I'm going to add 1/2 a cup of chili powder. I might end up adjusting that later on. So the seasonings are not really fine-tuned yet for this. So then I'm going to add 1/4 cup of ground cumin and 1/4 cup of smoked paprika. And I just went over on that, but I don't really care. It shouldn't hurt it too much. And that right there is the base seasonings. Now it also is going to need some salt. I'm going to go with, to start, 2 tablespoons. And I can fine tune and adjust that later on. As some of the ingredients already do have salt in them. So I don't want to over salt at this point, even though I'm expecting this pot to be relatively full. And I'm going to add, to start, I went ahead and wrote down 1 teaspoon, but I'm going to start with 3/4 of a teaspoon of my cayenne pepper. Just because I'm not looking for a major kick in spice. I'm just looking for a little bit of heat, just enough to notice. Now I'm going to go ahead and just give this a stir to incorporate my seasonings. And then once I add all of my other ingredients, I will go ahead and taste for seasonings at that time. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut the heat, even though this is not at a simmer yet. There's still a little residual heat left in the burner. And my beans I have right here. But I have pinto black beans, about 2.5 pounds of each of those. And then a little over 1 pound of kidney beans in here. And these were soaked for, I think, about 10 hours, maybe long. No, they're soaked for almost 24 because I put them in at 0900 yesterday. So I am going to go ahead and add in my beans. Give this another quick stir. And now I'm going to go ahead and add in my onions and bell peppers. and I will give this another good stir. And I am noticing that I'm probably going to need more liquid in this. And I do have a extra container in my fridge with a little tomato sauce from the other night, so I will probably add that in, and that will use that up, so that will not go bad. But since these beans are not cooked yet, and they'll be cooked in the jars, it definitely is going to need more liquid on top of that. So now I'm going to add in my 6 cans of diced tomatoes, and I am going to rinse these out, so that will add a little additional water into this. And now I'm going to go ahead and add in my Rotel. And also this Rotel will add a little additional spice into this. So now I'm going to go ahead and just start by rinsing these cans out and add that into there, and I will be right back. Okay, so I got my cans rinsed and everything, and I went ahead and grabbed my tomato sauce I have in the fridge, and I'm just going to go ahead and add that in. And once again, I'm going to rinse this out too, and then add the extra water back in. And now I'm going to go ahead and give this another good stir. And I did go ahead and turn the heat back on to a high just to heat it back up a little bit. Okay, so that's mixed up good enough. I'm going to go ahead and give this a quick taste. And just try to get the sauce, as that's where the seasoning is. Okay, I think it needs more salt. I'm not going to add too much. I'm going to add maybe another tablespoon. And I think it needs more spice. So I'm going to add in about that much, about another teaspoon of cayenne pepper. I also think it needs more ground cumin. So I am going to add in about another 1/4 cup of that. So we're at 1/2 cup of that so far. More paprika, another 1/4 cup of that, so 1/2 cup of that also. And more chili powder, about another 1/4 cup of that, maybe 1/2 cup. And once again, I'm going to give this another mix. And I have decided, instead of using fresh garlic, as that would be a lot to crush in here, I'm going to opt for most likely granulated garlic. It's going to taste a little different, but I don't think it would be too noticeable. Alright, so I'm going to let this come back up to almost a simmer. And then I will be back and give it another taste. Okay, so I'm back, and it is pretty much ready to be jarred up at this point. I'm going to go ahead and just give it one last stir, though. I decided, instead of using fresh garlic, to just use garlic powder. And I went ahead and used about 1/8 of a cup of that in here, and that was enough for me. But you can use whatever you want. You could use fresh or the granulated or whatever. It does not matter. I'm going to go ahead and grab another spoon. Give the liquid another quick taste. And that's perfect. And also, while I was off camera, I did add one more 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes because I felt there was not enough tomato flavor in this. It was really bland and watered down. Now, the beans are going to soak up a lot of the water in this, so that's why I'm kind of making it a little on the blander side. And if I find when I open the jars to actually eat it, if it's a little on the bland side, I can just add a little extra seasoning, and it might actually be a little on the thick side too, because the beans, once again, are not fully cooked yet. So it's going to absorb quite a lot of the water that's in the jar. So it might come out a little on the drier side, so you might need to add a little extra water to reconstitute it a little bit. So I'm not quite sure on how many jars this is going to do, but my math is saying I should get anywhere from 21 to 28 quart jars. So I only have one pressure canner, so that's going to be about 4 batches. I am going to go ahead and just end this video right here. If you're familiar with canning, you probably already know the rest of it. Just can it according to your altitude, and since this has meat and beans in it, it's going to need to go for 90 minutes. I'm just going to end this video right here. This was simply just a video for the recipe, and if you enjoyed watching this video, go ahead and smash that like button. And if you've tried this or have any questions, go ahead and just leave a comment, and I will try to answer them as I see the notifications come through. And don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy the content I'm putting out. And as always, thank you for watching, and I hope you continue to come along with me on this journey of mine.